So do you-
Teams meeting. We're to select this to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seeing as we have a forum, I'd like to open the meeting tonight. I'll move that we open the meeting.
Second.
And we will start with public comment, which is anything that people would want to bring up that's not already on the agenda. Do you have anything for public comment? Mary?
So sorry. Anyway, so I don't know if anything can be done about this, but the truck light up there by Christie's, on Friday evening, I was trying to turn onto 135. Somebody was trying to turn onto the cemetery road, but the cars were passing on both sides around us. And so we were stacking up 5, 6, and 7 cars. We couldn't move because the cars just kept passing on the other side. So I don't know if the board can do anything or authorize Lorna to do anything I'm not even sure what can be done. I know it's an ongoing issue. I know there's a lot of accidents there. And my guess is, that might be part of the reason, but neither of us could turn right or left. So we were kind of just stuck there.
Width there for a turn lane.
Yeah, so I was trying to turn onto
Right, but I mean, is
135.
there enough width that you could have a designated turn lane? So
Oh,
these
I don't
people
see
should
the
be
cars
passing.
were coming around the parked car and
There's
then the
enough
other
room.
cars were coming around
Yeah.
my vehicle. So they were going right by while we're both parked trying to turn.
Yeah, it seems the next step might be, rather than a blinking light, an actual functioning traffic light,
No,
which nobody's gonna want.
we've already tried that. with
Or
state.
some kind of
They will- they
signage
will
that
not.
says no passing,
On the road.
You're right, I mean, that's, that,
no passing, something that says no passing.
signs would be great, but
The only thing a sign to do is just, it will,
if something happens, then
Yeah.
it gives somebody some legal standing.
I don't know, it's just a thought, but
maybe it's time to have DOT do another study of the intersection.
Well, because we didn't get the flashing light there until my middle daughter was hit at that intersection. We'd asked several times for a flashing light over the years from the board. And said there was not enough crash data. And the day after her crash, the light went up. Because she was the one that flipped the switch. So she was like, I'm never going that way again, Mom, but.
And we can try it again. Last time we tried to get a fully functioning light, they said, no, we're not doing that on Route 27, it's just gonna back up cars.
Well, part of the reason is that crown is you cannot see what's coming this way.
Yeah.
no. That's fine.
We can try again, you can ask the DOT, see what they.
It's just dangerous. There were 3 motorcycles that went around me on this side, and this person couldn't turn onto the cemetery road. I couldn't turn onto the 135 because the cars were coming around that car that was trying to turn that way and just going by us. So, yeah, it's a dangerous intersection.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I move that we approve the minutes of September 5th, 2023. For a second, and then we can
Oh,
discuss.
second, I'm sorry.
I have just a couple of really minor things. At the beginning of the remote participants, let's identify Dan Newman as select person Dan, since the other select persons are identified. And I like my new name, Barbara.
Oh,
At the bottom.
I'm sorry, I did these very, very quickly while I was working out.
Is that Barbara or is that Barbara?
We'll fix that.
Oh, yeah, it's also, and it's twice. It's once at the bottom of page 1 and in the middle of page 2.
Okay.
And then there was also under the fire department, that last vote about the fire department, land purchase testing. There's a slash missing, so it looks like it's 40-1.
What page is that on, Barbara?
The second page,
So I think.
number C,
Yes, got
it
it.
just needs a little slash.
Yeah,
So nothing,
Fix
the content was all great, everything was fine,
good.
it was just. Like my name.
Sorry.
It's like, all right, I don't know.
I just had a question, because I wasn't at that meeting. Question, an emergency, then I had to attend, but, the transfer station roof replacement. Let's say that we have requested a proposal to be clarified with the 2023 calendar year, and we're hearing the book tonight, I see that it was. But at the August 15th meeting, the request for proposal was not going to be to expend the money, it was to see what the cost would be so that it could be incorporated into next year's budget. But the RFP says that the work will be completed by the end of 2023, which I mean, that was 15th meeting, that wasn't the intention.
If I may say, I think my comments were directed at making sure that the RFP was talking about Friday, September 15th of 2023. That's all I was really focused on. I don't recall that I had any desire to change when the work would be completed. I was just wanted to make sure that we're identifying this,
I gotcha.
the RFP.
Okay, I thought it was like the whole thing, but like I said, I didn't, when I just went back and reviewed a little bit of 8:15 and tried to get in there. And that was how we had left it, was that we weren't going to expend the money, but then we were going to allow the RFP to go, so we know what to budget.
So then is the statement or sentence on the RFP that says all work must be completed prior to December 31st, 2023, was that not present in previous discussion?
It wasn't.
So we need clarity.
And then it's gone right now. so-
Yeah, it's gone out, we already have doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can't go back and fix that.
Fix that, okay.
We do need to be careful with what we state and then what we do.
Oh, absolutely.
But as I recall, there is money to cover that in this year.
Yes,
Yeah, I think we had that discussion that the full monies were not expended, but we weren't really sure what the dollar amount was going to do, which is why we agreed to the RFP so that we could budget that. You know, it's coming. Yeah, we could put that in the 2024 budget, and if the money was left there this year, then we leave that money to a reserve account. And then we requested the budget proposal to take that money from that reserve and apply it to the roof.
Because before we sent out the RFP, we did have an estimate, not a full proposal from Powers that gave us, what, you know, just a ballpark idea of what it might be.
It's just, this is what we said we were doing. But we do need to be careful.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I do. Anything else on the minutes? So the minutes just stand as they are.
Yes.
Any other comments on the minutes? All in favor, Peter?
Yes.
Ellen?
I was not sure.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes.
Dan, were you-
yes.
Carol? Okay, all in favor? I'm abstaining. And tonight we have no unfinished business. Not that we don't have unfinished business pending, but we don't have anything ready to bring to the board. I'm sure we got plenty of things out there that are being worked on. So the first item under new business is appointments. And I move that we approve the appointment of Ann Stucco as youth representative to the Library Board of Trustees.
Second,
I will third that.
So usually, we let whoever's been, whoever's being appointed to the position, just say a few words if you like. We have your application, we know that you're very eager, and you have been already attending meetings of the library board, and so we just, if you have anything that you'd want to say, to the group, you're welcome to. That we're very happy to have your
Thank
enthusiasm.
you for appointing me. I'm really excited to be more involved in the library, because not enough people are reading, so, yeah.
Great. Any questions for Anna?
No.
All in favor, Peter?
Yes.
Donnie?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes,
Carol?
Yes,
And I vote yes, 5 in favor of Anne joining the library board as a youth representative, and unfortunately, she's already a senior in high school, so she has 1 year to do, to lend all of her wisdom and experience, and she already has her successor lined up, so that's a good thing, but we'll appreciate having you for this year.
It's wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I move that we approve Susan Reisert as library trustee.
second.
Susan,
Hi.
hi, I'm so glad that you're joining the library board.
Thank you.
Yeah, super. So we appreciate your service to the town, and I'm sure you'll find the library board a great group to work with.
Yeah, I've got to one meeting.
Good,
So yeah, I'm looking forward to joining the board and getting more involved in Belgrade.
good. Super. Any other questions for Susan? No. All right, all in favor of Susan Reiser?
yes,
Dan?
Yes,
Carol? No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, 5 in favor. Thank you, Susan. Appreciate your coming in tonight.
thank you, Susan.
Okay, thanks for coming in. Nice to meet you. So we've gained 2. We've gained 2 for the library, but we're losing 1. So Maureen has a sudden change in her career circumstances and has stepped down from the library board of trustees. So I move that we accept her resignation with regret
second.
and request a certificate of appreciation that would come from the board. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. All in favor? Dan?
yes.
Carol?
Yes,
No, yes, Peter?
Yes.
5 in favor. Okay, I move that we begin discussion of the transfer station roof replacement bids.
And Ken is on Zoom. There he is.
Hey, Ken.
Again,
Oh, can't hear you.
You're on mute.
That should be better, right?
Yeah, that's good. Now we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, good.
So do you want to walk us through the 3 bids?
Well, we got 3 bids, actually only 1 bid to specs, and that was James and Whitney. After going through the bids with Bruce, myself, the committee, James and Whitney would be the recommendation to go forward.
so the other 2 didn't meet requirements, Ken?
No, they didn't. They didn't bid to the specs that were in the RFP.
And can I ask, did we send this to ABL Roofing, who had done the replacement, at the
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. They're the ones that, and they quoted on it last year. We Corey had them come over and give us a bid on it last year. They were at like 22,000 or something like that. But yeah, I spoke with him. I sent him the RFP. He never responded.
What's Corey have to say about this too? Because these are town buildings. Corey should be,
He was
Corey was at opening, and he also recommended James and Whitney. That was also his recommendation.
and which of the 3 recommendations are you proposing we do? A, B, or C?
The first one, the A, which is the Camco, I believe.
Okay.
And the way the sheathing was bid, are they the ones who gave a certain price per foot or something like that, if it's needed? Did they give a,
I believe they all gave us alternate bids if the sheathing needed to be replaced. And none of them believed that it needed to be replaced,
okay,
but they gave us the pricing anyway.
okay, so it could be possibly prorated from that, if some of it needs to be replaced, or is it an all or nothing?
I
That
think
is
she's
correct, yes.
Okay,
What was that?
Yeah, Stevens an
an
extra.
extra amount.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know it's an extra amount.
Yeah.
So in looking at it, it was the Certainteed one that had a eligible for a 50-year warranty. I was sort of intrigued by that.
On the Certainteed,
On the Certainteed,
yeah.
it was $1,000, but it's eligible for this 50-year warranty. And I don't know what that means. Did you guys get that or not?
The Certainteed warranties them for 50 years. I don't know that affects their workmanship warranty, but Certainteed does. And it has to meet certain conditions, obviously.
Right. I guess that was my only concern, is that where there was so little difference in the two quotes, to see if it would make sense to see if we could qualify for that longer guarantee. And I don't know a lot.
Well, the difference between the two quotes is 48,110 from Fowler's and 73,368 from James Whitney.
Well, so it's 19,840 to 21,080.
Yeah, we're only using James Whitney's quote.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
But
the
they're three
difference between the
different
two brands.
different
of-
grades
the two different
of
types
shingles.
of shingles.
So it's the C brand that says. Option C says eligible for a 50-year warranty through Certainteed.
Right.
Must be installed on OSB or CDX base. I don't know if we haven't.
I'm not sure what the base is under there. If it wasn't that, then we'd have to replace the entire,
Right.
all the sheathing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Why can't we approve the higher amount of certainty when they come and strip the roofs, find out what the base is? And then if it isn't, instead of replacing the base, then we'll just drop down to the other shingles.
Right.
Possible.
We could do that.
Yeah, and Peter, you had a question?
I did, it has to do with process. For the team that opened up the bids relative and compared those bids to the specs, where two of the bids did not meet the requirements that Ken was talking about, are those things quite fully documented to avoid some kind of other potential action later?
One is like I said, water shield, we said 6,
Right.
spec 6 foot. Two companies only bid 3 foot.
I was gonna say, I saw that.
I just want to make sure I ask, just to, so it be documented, so there wouldn't be something comes back to say, we appeal that bid, that bid or something like that. That's all.
Most commercial buildings are 6 foot on the ice and water shield minimum.
Right.
I typically do the whole roof now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
I mean,
Totally
well,
agree.
this, we also spec a roof guard, not tide paper or anything like that, a roof guard, which is just a step down from
Right,
ice and water shield.
Roof
Has a
wall.
membrane in it.
Membrane.
Well, the other thing I liked is that James and Whitney have a 10-year workmanship warranty, which I didn't see all the way through in the others, so certainly they're warranting their work, but if there's a way to get that, if we have to put new sheathing on and we can get qualified for a 50-year warranty.
Well, and may already have that sheeted on there because that
Right.
that roof unfortunately has only been done since 2010. It's only 13-year-old roof, so. But they don't cover, warranty doesn't cover blown off shingles, so. If it curled or something like that, then you could try to crack or.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not blown off roof shingles.
If they're installed correctly, they shouldn't fall off though.
Right.
The problem with my roof. They're coming out in sheets.
Oh,
that's good.
So do we have any further discussion? Do we have a motion?
wanna go with that, Ian?
Well, I mean, I'd like to find out what the base is, and if it's the one that qualifies for the 50-year warranty, I'd rather go with the 21080.
Right.
If we
Okay,
find out,
so,
that way, if we find out if it isn't that base, then we can turn around
We
and tell
can
them,
go
I put the Camco on.
so I'll get in touch with them tomorrow and find out the possibilities of that happening.
Okay, well, can we go ahead and make them, we'll go ahead
That was my
and
motion.
approve it accordingly?
Do we have a motion? What, we have a
We
second?
don't have a motion yet.
Yeah, that was my
Okay,
motion.
so that was his
This
motion.
Okay, so your motion is to go with the certainty if the base is what's needed. And if the base is not what's needed, go with the TAMCO.
Correct.
Okay,
I'll second
James
that.
would be moved.
with James Whitney.
James Whitney.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that.
Second that. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, Peter?
Yes.
Ellen? Carol?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay, 5 in favor of James Whitney. Certainty or TAMCO.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right,
great.
yeah. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank
Thank you, Council, for that.
Melanie, you're the only one I can't hear, you know that?
It's because I have such a soft voice.
I think that's it. Okay, we'll see you later.
And we'll see you in a bit, so don't go too far.
Thank you,
No,
Kim.
I'm not going anywhere. All right, bye.
Okay, basket bingo.
There's a little
We don't,
representative.
no, there's not a representative.
So I make the motion that we table the basket bingo application until the member of the organization can be present.
Second.
So
Mary?
she needs to pick it up, it needs to be delivered. So Christine was not asked to be present.
We've asked every single year, Mary, for them to be present. Last year, we had to table it.
I did not know, otherwise I would have
They
let
sent a
her,
different
I
representative.
would have let her know to be present, but she needs to pick it up for tomorrow because it needs to be filed.
But she said in the email, I'm sending this email as a request to please add us to the September 19th agenda for the select board meeting to approve bingo licenses for November 17th. In the past,
Yeah.
they put us toward the beginning of the agenda so that after approval, the select board can sign the licenses and we can head out before the rest of the meeting.
Okay.
So it seems like they were expecting to be.
I did not know that you asked her to be present last year. I don't always.
I think last year Stephanie was here. Is it possible to see if either she or Stephanie could come down before we finish our meeting?
I could try to go give Steph a call and see if she would come down.
If
You want to
she
do
wants
that?
to zoom in, that's
Or-
fine.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
all right, let me do that.
Okay, thanks, Mary.
I feel badly that,
Table
yeah,
this till
I did not
further
know.
into the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we'll table this until later in the meeting or?
Yes.
Another.
So we have to vote on the tabling?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we do. Okay, okay, I move that we table this, and you already moved, second?
Yes. So, yes, and that we table it till later. in the
Okay,
meeting.
all in favor, and you'll second. it.
I'll second it for sure.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yeah, Melanie,
Yes.
Carol.
Yes.
Okay, 5 in favor of tabling. Okay. I move that we open discussion of abatements from the town assessor, our daily appraisals.
Second.
So we'll take these one by one. The first is abatement 2301. I move that we approve the abatement for Fred and Connie Marcino in the amount of $280.14.
Second.
And this is to correct the assessment of the building listing errors were corrected. Any discussion? All in favor? Yeah,
I believe I have to abstain.
oh, you're not listening. Okay, yeah, right. Carol?
Yes.
Yes.
No, yes. Okay, 4 in favor, 1 abstention. I move that we approve the abatement number 23-02 for Joanne Smith in the amount of $53.70. The veterans exemption was missed.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes,
Warren. I move that we approve the abatement number 23-03 in the amount of $223.75 in the name of Michael and Justine Rodriguez. The homestead exemption was missed, so this is to correct the omission of the homestead exemption.
second,
All in favor? Peter?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Carol?
yes,
Vote yes, so 4 in favor. I move that we approve abatement number 23-04 in the amount of $477.93 for Raymond Hewitt. The abatement is to correct the assessment of the building. Building listing errors have been corrected. The building is in good condition.
second,
All in favor, Peter?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
Carol?
yes,
4 in favor. Abatement 23-04. I move that we approve abatement 23-05 in the amount of $288.19. Karen Harwood, Alan Rodenheiser, and Judy Sudak. In the abatement is to correct the value of the buildings.
second,
Alan,
yes,
Peter?
Yes.
No, yes. 4 in favor. 1 abstain. I move that we approve the abatement number 23-06, Kathy Ames, in the amount of $110.57. This abatement is to correct the value of the building.
second,
All in favor? Peter?
Yes.
And yes. Carol?
yes,
1 in favor, 1 abstention. I move that we approve abatement number 23-07, Christopher and Margaret Bradley, in the amount of $1,345.19. The abatement is to be granted to correct the value of the buildings.
second,
All in favor?
Yes.
Peter? Yes. Charlie?
yes,
Abstain.
And abstain. So 4 in favor on all these and 1 abstention. Oh. Great. I move that we open discussion of the Maine Municipal Association Convention, voting delegate credentials.
second,
So this is for the conference that takes place on Wednesday, October 4th, and it authorizes one.
what?
Isn't that what we're talking about, other thing you keep?
Oh, Christine, are you here for the basket bingo?
You see Christine?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
perfect.
okay.
We'll finish
All
this one
right,
up,
good.
let's finish this one up that you opened and then we'll go back to her.
Okay, okay, Christine, we'll finish one item and then we'll get right back to you. Okay, can't hear you, but. Can you hear me?
You're
He's
working on it.
muted,
Okay. So we need to, have a voting delegate to represent our municipality for the convention. They have a couple of rule changes to the bylaws. So, I said I would go. If anybody else wants to go, more than welcome to.
I would plan on going, but, I might not be able to stay the whole day on Thursday, so,
Well, the voting is just for Wednesday afternoon. So we can authorize 1 delegate and an alternate.
I move we help.
Are you going both days? Carol?
It's like what I have.
Yeah,
I think it's because we're on the phone.
Okay, we're finishing up just one item that we'd already
Okay.
started. Oh, about the Maine Municipal Convention
Oh, sorry.
and the delegate. So we'd already started that before she came on.
Okay.
So we'll just finish that up.
Oh, actually, I can't go, but I'm not gonna be there. Sorry. I was like, wait, I knew there was a reason that I was not.
Does anyone else wanna go? Do you wanna go, Dan? Wednesday and Thursday?
Well, all we have to decide now is Wednesday for the vote.
Wednesday.
It's just Wednesday afternoon for the vote.
I nominate
Right.
Barbara as chair select board,
I know that-
select board chair.
I
To,
guess they didn't, we used to
Be
send
our
the town.
voting
manager over
delegate.
that,
Yeah, the town manager would go, but they're asking for a town official. So this town manager could do it,
Yeah.
Right.
or Barbara,
Yeah,
we just have
are you
to.
planning to go?
I
Is that a
can go.
Wednesday that you can go?
So Wednesday, October
The
fourth.
fourth?
2 weeks from.
September 20, no, that's treatment day for me.
Okay,
No.
I can't go on 20.
okay. So I'll put myself,
I can go Thursday, but that's not voting day.
yeah, all we need to do is just authorize, authorize one person in the motion.
Barbara as the delegate for the board of select persons, as the town official from the town of Belgrade.
And Carol is the alternate.
Carol is the alternate,
Okay,
So that's a motion.
that's my motion.
I'll second that.
okay, all in favor? Dan?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Okay, 5 in favor.
Thank you. for
I'll do
going.
us proud. I'll try.
It was a busy time, right in the middle of the afternoon, so thank you. for going.
I don't have some of the same commitments that the rest of you do. Carol and I have some for your schedules.
A little bit.
Okay. All right, so let's go back to basket bingo. Christine, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Right.
So go back to your application. And this is for basket bingo on November 17th. And
Yes.
this is both for the Belgrade PTO and the Augusta Rotary.
Yes.
And we have to submit it as 2 separate applications, is that correct?
Yes.
And so do we need to vote separately on each one or?
We do. Christine, there haven't been any changes since last year to the application or anything with the process, right?
No. No.
We kind of get this down now.
Right.
That's
many
been over
years?
20 years.
I was just gonna say, how many years has it been? I wasn't thinking quite that long. I had 15 in my head, but.
Actually, Derek was in kindergarten and he's going to be 30 this year. So
Sounds like
More than
25.
that.
Sounds like 25 years. All
Alright.
right.
I move we approve their application for basket bingo for the PTO, for the Belgrade PTO and the,
You have to do them separately.
oh, we have to, for the Belgrade
Belgrade Central PTO.
Central PTO.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay, 5 in favor of the application from the Belgrade Central PTO.
I make a motion that we approve the Rotary Club of Augusta's basket bingo application for November 17th.
Second that. All in favor, Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
5 in favor. Thank you very much for signing on, Christine. We can get this signed.
thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, we get this signed at the end of the meeting.
All right. Have a good night.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you, Christine.
All right. Bye.
That Zoom does some weird things, because last week, when you couldn't hear me,
Yeah.
Ken and I were talking to each other.
It was a volume problem here. That's what.
We were talking to each other and it's like, you can't hear.
Peter determined that the volume has just been turned way down.
Actually, it was Anthony.
Oh,
Anthony
Anthony.
came over.
Anthony, oh, yeah, it was Anthony,
Because he
that's
was
right.
here, because I couldn't figure it out, because it was supposed to be all set to go.
All right, all right. Okay, Mary, would you like to walk us through the rabies clinic request?
Yeah, so, I've been working with, Jeff Worthing, and we've been talking about building a rabies clinic. There are monies that are available, they're in what's called, Animal Control Special Revenue Fund, which is by state statute. Those are funds that are not to be spent, otherwise it's similar to a reserve, but it's not a reserve, it's called a special fund. So there's about $18,000 in there. We're looking for an amount up to $1,500. We think we already have of that, which would be Dr. Danner, Russell Danner. So he's interested in doing it. He's given us a price. We don't expect it to even exceed really $500, Lorna?
Yeah, he said he would charge 200 if we didn't have 20.
At least 20. So we're looking to run it 9 to noon at the North Belgrade Community Center. We think it'll be beneficial to residents of low income. And to also offer it to non-residents at a nominal fee of $10. It's similar to what the town of Oakland does. Oakland offers it to non-residents for $10. It's kind of a community service. It's also an opportunity for Jeff and Tracy to come out and meet and greet some of the residents. And I know it's been very difficult in the past for residents to be able to even afford to get their animals in. This would be dogs only.
Yeah, I was
Can-
just gonna-
No cats.
Yeah.
No cats. This will be dogs only.
Can this fund also pay for advertising? Because how are we gonna advertise this? Make sure that people know about it.
Newsletter.
Yeah, we've got the newsletter going out. I've
Well, I
already
was
started
just wondering if the
article
fund,
on
if
it.
there's that much money in that fund, that you can use some of that to put at least an ad for one day in the newspaper saying rabies clinic.
We could, and if we approve an amount up to $1,500, then that will give us enough money to place an ad in the
Because it'd be
newspaper.
nice to at least have that,
Yeah,
because that way it'll go on, hopefully go on the online newspaper too, and
right, and it's a good point, we were gonna do something like 8 to 1 or 9 to 1 would not be a full day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So
would
the
say
fee
maybe
for,
put-
the fee for non-residents is $10,
$10 is what we're proposing.
and is there a fee for residents?
There will be no fee.
No
for
fee for
residents.
residents.
Yeah, initially I was thinking
$5. Why don't we talk about
$5, but you know, we have this money. We have residents that are in need and hopefully they'll take advantage of it. We've built it, with Charlene's help, we've gone in and built, an email database for our, dog owners that were negligent last year. That got phone calls. So I'm gonna shoot out a blast email through our program to all of them to let them know, hey, this opportunity is going to be available. Come take advantage of it. This is free. I'll also be up there to register your dogs that day as well. So we'll be doing 2 things going on, the rabies clinic and registration of the dogs. So I'll take these up there. And it would be a cash only or check only. Because I won't have the computer, obviously, to take cards.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And have you set a date with Rusty on it?
Actually, we did. What did he
October
propose?
21st?
The 21st
Yeah.
of
At the
October.
North Belgrade Community.
And we already, the new tags have already come in. I can't release until October 15th. So we're pretty good. We're getting things organized and, yeah.
It was good to get Dr. Dana on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's right next door to the community center up there in North Belgrade, because he has the Forever Farm, so.
Yeah, it would be, I maybe put some signs up at the, transfer station. Cause there are a lot of people that, everyone that Kenny gives a dog bone to. You can remind them.
Here, can you give a flyer, give
Yeah,
a
we'll
little.
tie a flyer on dog bone.
I'll make sure I give them a flyer with every dog bone, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, put it on the sign out front here.
some sort of an ad, if you can push that over to me for Neighbors Helping Neighbors. We'll put it to the top of the page, so when folks see the notification, it's right there at the top.
Right,
And then we can keep that there until the 21st, and then when it's done, we can take it down.
I move that we authorize up to $1,500 from the special revenue account, the ACO special revenue account, to pay for the cost of the rabies
For the advertising.
No.
No.
The whole thing.
Because I was like, well, how much is advertising gonna be?
250.
Okay, yeah, just depends on how
Let's
big,
see if I can
if you want a normal ad, you know, that you're gonna see, it's gonna be more, but
I second that.
see what they. See what we have for money. Yeah, get it out there as much as we can.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Great to
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, Peter?
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
5 in favor. Thank you. Thanks, Mary, for putting this all together.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the last item under new business is the 2024 budget discussion. Lorna.
Yeah. Can I walk us through how we used to do the budget, just to do, I know we were carrying on this last year, just because when we came in, we threw it right into the fire. Some stuff we've already missed, the process has historically been. The budget committee meets with department heads and sets expectations somewhere around August or September. We've sort of missed that part.
Wait, the budget committee meets with the department heads? No.
And then tells them what they need before they come back to the budget committee, because the budget committee is fully part of the process. And it used to be that the department heads met with their committees to put together their budget. And then the department heads met with the town manager, which is where the town manager started cutting their budget. What's a need, what's a want, what can you hold off on until next year? So that by the time that comes back to the budget committee, they're able to go through it line by line. And at that point is when they also start trimming the budget back. So by the time it gets to the select board, it's already been through 3 rounds of cutting. So then it gets to the select board with the budget committee and the select board and the department heads. That's when we do the all-day meeting. So normally at this point is when we decide what's an acceptable increase. Is it 1%? Is it 2%? So, because we also set the expectation for what the budget should be moving forward. So I know Warner was gonna meet the department heads. You sent that email out yesterday, so you're setting stuff up with them for next week. Was that?
Yeah, I had Nick send out packets before I left, early September, so that they could all be working on their budgets. And when I got back this week, I sent a notice out that we would schedule meetings next week.
Okay.
So I did just a rough draft schedule that I just handed out to you. So if we do department head meetings for the next couple of weeks, that gives us time to meet and for Nick to take their figures and plug those into Trio. And update. We'll go back over those with them to make sure that's what we all understood. The budget committee could meet a Wednesday and a Monday in October, 6 p.m. And I have the select board, I have 4 dates, all on Mondays at 6 p.m. To meet 2 in November, 1 December, and then a final for January.
And then we may need.
When are we doing the all day thing?
Well, break up the all day and do it 2 evenings instead.
So we went back to the all day last year because the previous year we had split it. And we missed 2 major budget pieces by doing it that way. Stuff just did not get carried forward. So that was why we went back to the all day. And then we have it hammered out by the end of the day, we stay with the flow and we don't miss things.
I've not been in favor of the all day. I find it very tiring. I would just as soon break it up into 2 days, and if we have to do checks and balances to make sure that we have everything, we need to figure that out in the process. But I would prefer to instead of doing the all day marathon to do 2 half marathons. But that's my preference.
My only problem with doing half day ones, if we're starting at 6 o'clock, we never make good decisions at 11 o'clock.
Right,
I don't wanna be here at 11 o'clock, trying to figure out what.
that's my problem with doing split sessions. We don't get out of here until 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then come 10 o'clock, it's quick, and then stuff gets missed, or, you know, the all day thing, that way you do the all day thing, then you're able to come back at another board meeting, regular board meeting, and pick up the stuff that, or get, you know, you get the answers for questions that you had during the all day thing. That's, you know.
But the other dates. Let's just say that on Lorna's schedule, the 6th and the 20th, those would be the split meeting instead of the 2. So, you know, we could do either the 6th and the 20th, or we could do an all day. But the December 11th and the January 8th, those are just special meetings, board meetings with the budget committee. They're not, it's not as part of a regular select board meeting. If that's,
Well, those two night meetings, I don't have a problem with, because we've already gone through
yeah,
the whole budget.
Hopefully it should all have been gone through.
Right.
December 11th and January.
December 11th and January,
Right.
January 8th, yeah.
If we're gonna split the November meetings, I would prefer to split them for a weekend day, 2 Sundays or whatever we have to do, so that we can do them during the day. 'Cause like I said, once we hit 11 o'clock at night, we're in here at 6 and we do 4 hours worth of budget. Ain't nobody wanna be here at 11 o'clock at night, and we do start messing
And
up.
we also have to be responsive of the fact that folks have families, they cannot necessarily be here on a Monday night until 10 o'clock.
So are we
And
thinking,
for 20 some odd years, the all day things seem to work the best. Everybody expected it, everybody came with what they needed. And we just rolled right through.
Is it possible to do it on a Saturday instead of a Sunday?
If
Is there
somebody
any-
wants to pay my work.
Okay, yeah.
And
I know there's 4 of us
most of us
that
come too.
attend church on Sunday.
Yeah.
Corey, myself, Carol, and Scott Ferguson.
Yeah, the all day on Sunday is hard for me. I mean, I would leave, go to church and come back, but, so,
Well, like I said, I wouldn't have a problem if we did 2 splits, but
Two
did them on
splits.
Sundays, start at noon time and go to 4, or,
Right,
so that people could go to church in the morning or whatever.
right.
And
Or
we-
two,
And we've done that in the past, but in the past years, I can remember we used to do it, split it up with 2 Sundays.
two
So we used to
Sundays,
do 2 half Sundays.
So you do like an afternoon?
Yeah,
I would
Yeah.
prefer that
could
in
do
the evening.
1 to,
Yeah.
1
I
to
could,
5 or
I
something.
could think better at 4 o'clock in
I
the afternoon than I can at 11.
I agree.
yeah, that's a
I'm
good
with
idea.
Dan,
Yeah.
And maybe do it 2 Sundays in a row, so there's not so much
That's-
time. That
that's how it was done in the past.
Yeah, so we could do November 5th and 12th.
If I get my phone, I just don't want to commit to something, and I realize when I can't do it.
Would you like,
I think the late night,
It's,
Yeah,
makes it very difficult to stay on task and
Yeah.
be really crisp with
Yeah.
decisions when fatigue sets in.
yeah,
So I like the idea about going to Sundays, although that makes the weeks sort of a little bit longer, but that is the price we pay.
and I think the other thing is we need to police ourselves, because sometimes we just sort of walk down a road far longer than we need to. It's like, okay, pull ourselves back in. So that we start at 1 and end at 5 or something, and we sort of time keep ourselves
right,
to keep us on track.
right.
could we do a, either noon to 4 or 1 to 5?
On a Sunday,
Yeah,
I like 1 to 5, but I can do a noon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wanna go any later than 5,
Yeah.
because we have Sunday dinner every Sunday with the
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah,
would that give you time if you did start at 1, would that,
As long as I can get out of here by 5.
and I think the 12th, that's a holiday weekend, am I right?
oh, Veterans Day.
better,
Yeah.
so-
Correct.
So you, would- I think that's, and so you would wanna probably do the 5th and the 19th.
I'd forgotten about the holiday weekend.
Well, the 19th is running into Thanksgiving. I don't know, it doesn't make a difference to me.
It's before, it's the week.
Yes, the weekend
before.
before. Is anyone
Yeah.
gonna be away for a
So
long?
Melanie, we're all now talking
I
about
don't-
Green Bridge, I'm not doing
I don't
November
care if
5th and
it's holiday
12th
on a Monday.
from 1 to 5.
I know, what if employees are taking a long weekend, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the Friday is,
That time of year.
Friday is the official.
Okay, so the 12th, I'm already volunteering from 8 AM till 5 PM. Making window inserts for
How about the 19th, Melanie?
the 19th is open, but then does that put us on the 5th and the 19th, and we didn't want to be 2 weeks apart on that?
Well,
Yeah, it was,
The only advantage of that is if you got questions from the meeting before, it gives time, people
they can be
Yeah.
answered.
can be answered. The other thing is it's gonna take, it's not just last year, it was the year before that, and maybe even the year before that. Somehow, some way, at these meetings, and it's gonna take the 5U and the budget committee. Somehow when we walk out of that meeting, when we're done with the department, we gotta have that, so it's going to the article. Because what happens is we end up back here again in January, doing it all over again, and that's the one we end up in the late meetings, and it never used to be that way. It used to be on Sunday, we did our things, you may have a few questions on a few other articles. And yeah, you
Trying to
know,
get this
so
data.
somehow, some way, I don't know the answer to it,
Well,
I mean,
the articles, the wording for the articles should all be written before our first meeting,
right,
Before what?
Right,
before we have our first meeting.
We just have. to
And then
put
we
numbers
just,
in.
we look at the language to make sure the language is right. And then we just have to wait to plug the final figure in. But the articles should be, instead of us trying to rewrite the articles of these meetings, which takes so much time, the articles should be written ahead of time.
And they should be consistent with what
What they were,
we do every year.
right,
right, and it should be at them meetings, so we're not packing in January at midnight still, you know.
Right.
Because people, oh, well, we changed our mind about this, we changed it, you know, it's been decided in November. You know, you guys may have put your,
it should just be final money that when we do that, that we're waiting for, you know, final books to be closed and things like that.
But then the is it the December 11th meeting where we get we take the votes of in favor or not? Or is that the January 8th?
No, the December 11th meeting is usually where we do a review to make sure that
We didn't miss anything.
that we didn't miss anything.
Yeah,
Okay, so
And we walk right down through
We
that.
go through all the corrected articles, if we have to make corrections in those
Okay.
2 days, and make sure that they've been corrected.
right,
Everything's ready to go except for that.
right. And then January 8th is when the board and the budget committee vote.
And that's the final on just the written articles, the secret ballot, right?
Secret ballots, there's a deadline, and I'm not really sure what the date of the March meeting is, but it's 90 days.
If possible, we try to have them all done by then, but sometimes there are some that have to carry over, because we still.
I think
March
I
meeting,
did.
it's the third Saturday, right?
We met on
March
that,
16th.
we met January tenth
Oh,
last year, finalized.
Yeah, and I think the deadline was the 17th, so that's what I had for last year, so any
So that
secret
would
ballot
work.
articles have to be completed, decided, voted,
90 days or? 60 days?
January 16th,
January,
90 days.
well, that's not 90 days.
That's not 90 days because February, how many
Right.
days are in February?
29.
What's the?
Well, no, but if you're 90 days, you need 3 months, that
I
factors
mean,
into
3
December.
months.
Has to be
60 days, 60 days,
60 days,
90
okay.
days for the candidates.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah,
I'm like-
Candidates in 90 days.
What's our date for the meeting next year, do you know that? Mary?
I don't know that.
March 16th is the
16th.
third.
Oh, March 16th.
Third Saturday.
So we would need it by January
January
15th.
15th or something.
Or January 15th.
Yeah. So
That's the
would
days.
everybody be available November 5, 1 to 5, November 19, 1 to 5, December 11, 6 p.m., January 8, 6 p.m.?
Got it in there.
And I'll reach out to the budget committee with these 2 dates. These are suggested dates and see if we can get everybody together.
And then the budget committee would also have those additional dates in October.
Yes. Yes, October 11 and October 23, both at 6 p.m. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
I did.
All the dates work for me, so.
Yeah.
That will work for me too. I had a question and maybe Melanie and Dan would know the answer better than anybody else, I'm not sure. Melanie, we're going through how it had been done before, and there was a stage where you're talking about the board would talk to the department heads about the budget in relation to something.
The budget committee.
Meeting with the department heads.
Right, and so would the board have any idea about what that would be? What any of those numbers would be? I guess I'm not seeing how the select board would know what any of that would be.
I think how it used to work was the budget committee met with the department head and said, you need to have this and this, and this and this and this, and sort of, you need to meet with your committees, you need to craft your budget, this is what we're looking for. So when you come back, you've got what they would have for questions already answered, and then they met with the budget committee the second time.
Okay.
What happens, Peter, is once in those 2 October dates, once they go through and get all their figures, then it comes to the town, they print it into our budget books.
Yeah.
And then you can get your budget book at any time to start reviewing it, so you'll have all this numbers before.
Right, but in the meantime, Lorna and Nick are meeting with the department heads
Right,
before October 11th.
right, because that's where the formative decisions about budget and stuff will be really happening. That's the boots on the ground stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where they figure out what they want, and then
Right.
once it comes to us in those weekend meetings, they start arguing.
What they need.
And trying to say,
Arguing.
well, try to tell us, this is what we really want. This is-
Presenting.
I need it more than this department needs.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Thanks very much.
Okay. All right.
Great.
Moving on.
Okay, we also need to decide what's an acceptable increase, because that's our job.
Yeah. In the very, very near future, we're gonna try to figure out if we're gonna
I mean, we
try to
say.
keep, we don't wanna have them come out, increase budgets
By
5 to 10, but 5 or 10%, and we can come back and go, no, we wanna cut down to 3.
Because the 3% increase is gonna be huge, we've got to take into account that those folks who got the special.
Stabilization.
Yeah, it was like there's a special, like, it wasn't a rebate, but off your taxes, the stabilization, and then the state reversed that. So then we did the factor reval, so now those folks' taxes are going to go up twofold. In some cases. So we need to be cautious with what we say we're willing to take on for an increase, because we also are an emerging community with a lot of folks who live on a fixed income. So is a 1% increase comfortable, and comfortable not exceeding a 2% increase, so somewhere between 1 and 2. And when we look at our overall budget in the millions, that is a lot of money.
We use the consumer price index for any factor or comparison. If you know CPI is up like 1.9.
Right, we have.
Just curious, just as a gauge, doesn't have to be a determining factor, but just a factor.
Chris,
Just give you guys all a heads up. I mean, some departments, some stuff is going up tremendously, and it's not needs, it's stuff we have to do. So some.
So is it, then it is needs,
It's
it's not
needs,
wants.
not wants.
So then it's different.
Right.
So then the balance is, if this is a need, and this over here is a want,
Right.
because every department should have a 1 year, a 5 year, and a 10 year plan. So that we're planning for the future. Are we gonna need to replace a facilities truck at some point? Yeah. So we've always set up a capital reserve account for the purchase of a truck. We don't just purchase a truck, we set it up and we split it up just like you budget at home. So we've asked again and again, 1, a 5, and a 10 from every department, so that we plug stuff in where it belongs. Is it nice to have this piece of equipment now and not 5 years down the road? Could be. But can we push it off and set a capital reserve account for it and save the money to purchase the equipment? Yes, we can, and we should. So that's the pieces that we have to figure out.
I haven't seen any, do we have 1 and 5 and 10-year plans in place, if that's been requested previously?
The transfer station.
Yeah.
Transfer station does, yes.
Facilities maintenance, we've been asking for, I think I've been asking for at least 2 years for a book and replace and 1, a 5 year and a 10-year plan. But we've had such shifts in facilities maintenance that I don't know if any of that's happened. But it's part of, right, it's been a lot of what we're saying is, does this roof need to be repaired? Yes. Should we have started planning for this a couple of years ago? Probably, but we didn't. So we've got to get ourselves back into that saving for the future so that we have the money and it's designated for that purpose.
Absolutely agree.
After you, Dan.
The other thing we need to do probably this next select board meeting is make a determination on what raises we're looking at this year, because of course that's gonna affect every single budget.
Right.
So they need to know ahead of time what we're willing to look at for a percentage of
And
raises.
that's what Peter was talking about with the cost of living index.
Yeah,
So I had a
Yeah.
comment, if I may. I really like the idea of having a model in place, like a 1, 5, 10-year plan. And if there is one, or if there are two of these in place, maybe that could be shared with other department heads to help create that culture of saying, oh, we may not be able to look into a crystal ball and with great accuracy know what we're gonna spend in 10 years. But if we wanna get from here, point A to point B, we have to start planning and start allocating money and doing things in such a way that gets us there.
Right.
So if we could share that information with others as example, maybe that could help.
Yeah, and the budget process is a good time to do that. Even though everybody's busy doing the immediate budget, it also is a time that you can look forward and say, do we need this year or can we wait?
Yeah, that's very insightful, and that could be very helpful for some of the people who are in those positions who may not be accustomed to doing this.
Yeah.
And may have to react to certain things, you know, pressures from colleagues or things that happen in the moment. There may be times they have to just respond.
Right, right.
So.
Right, and as Melanie said, with facilities and grounds, you know, there was turnover, you know, there were things that weren't planned for, so all of a sudden, it has to be done. But planning is a much better process.
Agreed.
Okay, anything else on the budget? Okay, thanks, Lorna, for
Great back.
putting this
Thank you.
together.
yeah.
Okay. Mary,
Yeah.
security for 2024 presidential elections.
Okay, well, I attended the training, this last week. And, part of that training was election security. And, with the upcoming election being a presidential election. And there's a lot of questions, a lot of concerns about the safety of election officials. I know that there have been instances of local election officials that their lives have been threatened. The election clerk in Waterville, her life was threatened. The woman in Rome actually stepped down from her position because of the threat. So I never really thought about it as much as I did when they were discussing this. So Shannon Bellows and this TJ Swenson was giving this presentation. I did put the whole handout that they gave, because it was very good. So, you know, some of the concerns were the lack of cameras and security, the number of people walking in and out of the doors throughout at the center. There are many doors down there. People are coming and going through all the different doors. It's not just, you know, coming through the front door and exit. We have people coming in through the kitchen. We have people coming in through the porch area. So there were some concerns there. Other concerns are, I come up here sometimes at 9 and 10 o'clock at night by myself with all of the ballots in my car because I have to get them into the vault. So I do it very quickly because I unload my car, then I lock the door behind me, but I am in the building for about 45 minutes to an hour by myself. In the evening, it's a very remote location and I have concerns there. I'm hoping to make, have Kelsey with me now, to maybe come up so I am not alone. So that gives me, you know, that feeling that, you know, that would be okay, but so what they did is, Shannon Bellows offered an opportunity for what's called a safe assessment, where they come in and they do an assessment of the security of your election. So I come up here at 6 o'clock in the morning, I pick up all the ballots because I can't take this home in my car. You know, my car might burn up, I might get in an accident. Everybody's absentee ballots gone. So everything's in the vault, so I have to come up here, I have to do that, I have to load up my car. Take everything down to the center, unload the center, usually there's nobody there when I get there. So I'm unloading again on my own. And then the same thing in the evening and the travel back and forth, you know. I'm carrying election ballots that are, so. Anyway, so I'm just letting you know about it. I want to move forward and just have them come in and do a safe assessment. See what we can do better, how we can improve. We're not really even sure if the couple of cameras that are down at the center are even in a working condition. Nobody knows where they go or what they, how you even access them. So
the cameras, don't they feed into the rec director's office?
Dan doesn't know. Corey's been down. They don't know. They have no idea.
So it always was supposed to be the rec director's office, and the reason that the cameras were designed like that was so that if they were in the office and somebody entered the building, they would not be surprised by a person in the building.
But where are the cameras? Are there enough cameras? You know, there's a concern
Is
there.
there 6 or 4?
2, 4, 6.
Okay.
The same amount we have at the transfer station.
So anyway, they'll come, they'll do this for free. It's a no cost. And just do a safe assessment. So basically, it's just, you know, to let you know, I'd like to move forward with doing this. And Janabella said just contact her office and she would line us up before the November election. And knowing that the presidential election is coming and, you know,
big one.
for the most part, our residents are really good. We don't have people making threats. We get derogatory statements on the integrity of us as election officials. I mean, you're gonna get that anyway. And you just manage it, but we've never really had any death threats. But I think it's important just for the safety.
Well, and you never know when you're going to have that first one. So we
You
need to
don't,
be
you
prepared.
don't, just like, you know, Patty Dubois in Waterville.
Yeah,
They actually went and arrested him, they jailed him.
yeah.
So the threat was so significant. And other clerks also commented that they had had threats of a certain nature that.
And probably some of the threats aren't coming from Belgrade residents. I mean,
Yes.
Peter and I were talking about the Zoom bombing that's going on
Yeah.
at meetings.
Yeah, we
you know,
talked
which is a
about
similar-
that
Which is a
too.
similar
Yeah.
problem. And it could be that, you know, somebody from Alaska, California, or wherever is calling threats to Belgrade, Maine. It wouldn't have to
Yeah.
be someone who's a resident of Belgrade.
If you have Kelsey, help you in the evening, coming up when it's late, I could come early in the morning, at least I could be here and I could follow you, I can help you carry things out, I can follow you.
Yeah, and we
just
have to
doing
come up
school.
and we have to check the ballot box at 8 o'clock. Thinking for the presidential election, and I want to notice this, is that if you haven't returned your ballot by the close of the day on the election day, that you must return it to the center. I don't know if legally I can do that, I'm gonna look into it, but to come up here at 8 o'clock at night, again, you know, I'm usually traveling alone. And I'll come up at 8 o'clock at night, so I have to unload the ballot box, take the ballots that do get turned in. And run them back down to the center.
Are you the one that has to do it? No, I mean, another person could not do
Only
it.
an election official
Okay.
may do it.
But somebody
Yeah.
could be with you who's not an
Somebody
election
could be
official.
with me, right?
Somebody could be with
Somebody
you for
could.
security purposes.
Yeah. And usually, you know, I don't have a lot of people down there. I keep it very slim.
Well, I'm sure any one of us
So,
would be willing
yeah.
to go with you, so
Right.
don't be afraid to
Yeah,
ask. And when they come to do the assessment of the building, will they also walk through, you know, the whole
they
process
will walk
with
through
you?
the whole area. Yeah, I might even take Lorna down with me, so she's a witness to, you know, what is said, because I think they're gonna have concerns when they see all the
They may.
doors.
Yeah.
Know how many people are in there, the kids are in there, they're out the back door, they're in the back door, the parents are coming, they're picking up the kids.
Yeah,
The doors are opening and closing all the time.
yeah, I mean, the kids could go to the library for the day or
And like
something
I
like that.
said, you never know, I guess, you know, it may be just fine, and it's just, be on the side of caution, err on the side of caution, and.
I'm happy though to come early in the morning and be here and help you and,
Yeah.
you know, be almost act as like security.
Yeah, in the morning,
Yeah.
yeah, cause you're here early.
Yeah, I'm like early, I would say.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So a couple of things. So first of all, thank you for going to this. I think it's wonderful to get this safe assessment. CISA, who's offering this out,
Right.
Homeland Security, this is what they do.
Yeah,
Right? So I'm thinking they'll have concerns, they'll have some recommendations. I'm
right,
hoping that's documented and they can hand it to you and Lorna.
right,
Then we may be faced with some, you know, some decisions about some things we didn't even know. Like maybe we have to purchase more cameras or block some doors we didn't know about, or
Yeah.
establish a security group that accompanies you,
right.
right? If it were a ballot recount, state police escorts those things.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right? How is
And
this
there
not
are, those
different?
ballots are already in our
Right.
vault when they come.
So my question about that is, how is this any less important than that?
Right, right.
So we may want to consider what those recommendations might be for us.
Right.
And be kind of semi-prepared for some actions.
Yeah.
That's just my thought. So thank you very much for doing this. This is
Yeah.
ultra important. Very important for the taxpayers of Belgrade that we are taking these steps. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then the second thing under other business is holding an archival day, which is also Mary's.
Yeah, so I put this on here, but I just wanted to give you a heads up, and I mentioned it to Diane before, and to include Diane in this whole thing, but, you know, we ask every year for monies to be paid or to be raised for, our archival records.
More like waiting.
It's creeping around. It's So every year we ask for our monies to be raised, for archival records, and we spend the money and we get the books, and they're beautiful. They get put in the vault, no one ever gets to see them, so I was thinking maybe in the near future, like even a day in February, when, you know, people may wanna get out, and, just to hold a day in here, have, Diane here as part of the Historical Society. They have a lot of things that they could probably bring over as well. But to offer an opportunity for people to come in and view the book, because we have found some really, a lot of different things, not just vitals and things like that. We found war records, we found, trust books. We probably have, I would say, 600, 700
That's so cool.
trust books,
You should
where
say-
people, the oldest one is 1908, where they actually had to buy from Depositors Trust or another banking institution, their perpetual care law. And every month, they were selling for $200 and $300. So that's a lot of money back in 1908.
Yeah.
And every month, they would go in and they would be stamped. Do you remember how they used to dot?
Yeah.
When they stamped, it was a bunch of dots. Yeah, so it's really neat, but I also want to maybe offer an opportunity for residents to be part of that preservation process and donate funds and therefore have their names printed on the books, as was done quite a few years ago by one of my predecessors, Alan Bacon, or Ellen Eggery. And the Hammonds actually donated like $20,000. So there are a number of books out there from Verna and Skip, and it gives the year the money was donated. I just thought it'd be a way to also get some of that work done without tax dollars.
Just looking at the old town reports, those ones that you had when you went through them, I read through a bunch of them. It's pretty interesting. reading some
They're
of those.
interesting, aren't they, you know, and the people that were taxed because they had a cow. You know? You know, some of the stuff is really interesting, so, but anyway, so it's just an FYI and to let you know that I want to work with Diane and so people can come meet our new town historian. And for people that don't know, I'm sure everybody does. But, yeah, it's
So-
just
so-
information.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I was just thinking about, people like Rod Johnson and Doris Mathias, who would love to be part of something like this, but, you know, probably aren't gonna be around in February. Would it be something
And
that
maybe,
we might
if
wanna
it goes
wait?
well, we could hold something even more towards spring or in
Yeah,
late fall.
May or something
Right,
like
Maybe
that? when there might
Memorial
be-
Day weekend, when there are a lot of people around, or,
Yeah,
you know.
That's a good idea.
And can I say, if we were to involve any scout troops in town, that was one of the things that my girls always said, was how come other towns we went to had a museum that they could go to and look at their town's history.
Yeah.
And so,
we do have a
Well, we
museum.
do, and if we did this later into the spring, we could have the townhouse open at the same time.
so between the townhouse, the stuff that's at the Senegal Seasons, because at the time, we didn't have the stuff at the Senegal Seasons.
Right.
Right, so.
But we hope to have another open house this fall for the townhouse, because, there's a lot there to see.
There is.
Yeah.
There is. It's very nice. You guys have done a wonderful job. But, yeah, I still would like to keep the February date. People have cabin fever, they're looking to get out.
Sure.
And I really don't want to take them out of the office because in case anything happened, who knows, you know? But anyway, they sit in the vault and I look at them and they're really nice, so. I don't
And
know.
no refreshments in the same, at least not in the same room. You have to finish your refreshments in the other room before you come in and look at the books.
Yeah. So it's just basically an FYI.
Great.
And I was thinking, you know, the Boston Post came, the clock, the bell, there's a lot of people that don't know where these things are and how they relate back to our town also. So, there would be a good opportunity to do that too.
Right, wonderful. Yes, please.
Could I put a request in other business at this time?
Oh, sure.
Just request that in a future meeting, we talk about Zoom security settings. As other towns have faced some issues, you may have seen it made the news. Hollowell, Portland, they've all, and others have faced, anti-Semitic, racial slurs, certain attacks, verbal attacks towards, people in the presence of, in a meeting. And that's really disturbing. And if we can somehow learn to increase those security settings to mitigate those impacts, we are better off if we can do that. So just want to make sure we set aside some time to learn about it and implement this.
Normally that, if it's not doing that, I'm in favor of just shutting them off.
That's what I was just, you just,
We got somebody that's controlling the button up.
you boot them up, fire a bench or gavel, it says they are over there, and you boot them out, and then you're allowed back in.
And we do have a waiting room, so, and I.
Yeah, they
gathered
don't
from
get
that
in
article
unless you
that
let
Right.
them.
Some people.
So like I said, you can kick them right
some
back
people
out.
Don't even have waiting rooms.
Right.
People can just come
We
in, so we have
most
one
people
layer
have
on bed.
Right, Zoom does talk about, security settings that they recommend people implement. And when towns and municipalities do this, how to do that, one of the recommendations in the story is use a waiting room. But we don't have to solve it now, I
No,
just
I
want
know.
to make sure we talk about it a little bit more.
Okay, so we could put it on the agenda for the next meeting, why wait?
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. All right, so I move, and we've already voted on warrant 104. So we just need signatures for that, right?
Yes.
Okay. I guess we missed Peter, we missed your signature on that warrant.
Oh,
That's fine.
And we have updated list.
Oh, yes, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. All right. I move that we approve payroll warrant number 106 in the amount of $21,725.90.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, Pam?
Yes,
Carol? Yes. Peter?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, 5 in favor of warrant 106. I move that we approve BMV warrant at 107 in the amount of $4,767.54.
Second.
All in favor, Dan?
yes,
Carol?
Yes.
Norman? Yes. Peter?
Yes.
All right, I'll vote yes, I in favor. I move that we approve the AP warrant number 108 in the amount of $934,952.69. Any questions? I thought this had to be a school payment, and then I realized it wasn't the school, it was the county.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the
That
big
was
ticket
a
item
big one.
was.
Just had a couple, we have like page 3, like a printer fan and an organizer and things like that. Are we setting up an additional office?
Is for one of the new deputy clerks workstation.
Trying to make her space fit for her.
Okay, that's why I just put that question mark and I'm not sure.
Hey, Jeff.
Any other questions?
I don't remember the Norfolk Green started change the lights to LEDs for $2,200.
What page is that?
That is on page 4. And it says private and private, so we don't check on when we decided that, was it coming out of a specific account or some of the capital project facilities?
Corey's not here, but could this be from the 25,000 that was already approved? That was moved out of the
Yeah.
designated fund? Because there was 100,000 for facilities, with the idea being that 75,000 would be for the center, and 25,000 would be for that way.
Is this the poles outside? Dan, did you do that?
The lights
LED lights inside.
inside,
And then there's a 2-pole, is it the 2-pole breaker, that's the inside.
that was out on the meter that went, a couple weekends ago, and the service needs to be replaced with the. Got the cords in right, the cable's all cracked, and water's running down through the cable, through the meter. So that breaker was to get them by. That wasn't letting enough power go through. I did that, I was on the day, I think, or that day there.
Page 6, new installs company, we usually go out to bid on these songs, is this Blackfield price, is this? We talked about if we do the RFQ, we usually go see what the RFQ price is, see what we're gonna get directly, what does MMA get? It looks like we just purchased.
Didn't we do a bid for sand and salt?
No,
Oh, we didn't do it.
no, I think Jason checked everywhere and purchased.
So we don't ever do it that way. So I don't know, I don't know what we do with that, but we get a bid and we get an amount, and then we see what comes back for the bid process. Sometimes it's more beneficial to go with Katie Cog. Sometimes it's with MMA, sometimes it's with the RSU, and in years past, we've done more salt on our own. So,
And we've done state too.
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
bid
Yeah,
with the
we-
state.
We've done it with state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know who authorized the purchase of that, but that is not a process, and we need to get a price for the year, and we need to see how much we need to put up, and we need to decide what is the best. What's the best for the town? So we can maybe check on that for the next meeting and make sure we get that done.
Any questions?
If we break the garage door. All this garage door repair,
What page?
straight after the salt.
PDQ door?
Doesn't tell me,
Something happened.
is it? The garage up here was it one of the fire stations or?
No, it says facilities garage.
Well, fire station, I don't know.
$1,000, that looks like a garage.
Yes.
Okay.
Garage,
Facilities garage.
Do you want me to check the
Yeah, I'm
invoice?
just curious as to what happened with it. Pretty good repair there.
Opener. Liftmaster with, chain drive opener with 2 remote controls, keyless entry, wall control. Pricing includes removal and disposal of existing items and materials.
Wore out on opening.
All in favor? Yeah?
Yes,
Yes.
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 One in favor, 5 in favor. I move that we approve the payroll warrant number 109 in the amount of $21,619.69.
Second,
All in favor, Jen?
yes,
No?
Yes.
Yes, Peter?
Yes.
How about you? 5 in favor. And I move that we approve the BMD warrant, state payables, number 110, in the amount of $8,532.47.
second,
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie? Carl?
Yeah.
Dan?
yes.
5 in favor. Okay, that's it for the warrants. So, town manager. Second day back from vacation.
Playing catch up, I don't have a report, I didn't know if Larry had
I did
anything.
not do a report, I did not have time, I'm sorry. Between 2 new employees and, yeah.
anything important happened that we should know about?
Not really, we've had, the code enforcement officer went out and looked at both of the junkyard permits, so we'll have that, for a public hearing at the next meeting. I went over mostly everything with Lorna.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot, it was fairly quiet.
Yeah,
No, saw an email there having to do with the water system. You remember that?
Yes, I forwarded that out to you all. They're gonna be doing borings
Yeah.
the end of this month. And checking elevation,
Yeah, and then we're gonna also check back with the people to see if they still want.
confirm who wants to be part of the system.
Did you do something with the fire panel with the snowfall seasons? Is that done? Is that in the works?
I get that voted again today, but I contacted the fire marshal and we don't need the intercom, but now, I heard the security company wants a letter from the fire marshal. So we just have to send them an email to say that.
Yeah, Corey called me on and I said, you don't need that evacuation system. So I told him last time I went there.
I didn't know that for a fact, so I called the fire marshals and they looked into it. It goes by the amount of people and
Yeah.
some reason they put it in, but now the security company wants to make sure that's right, so they want something from the fire marshals. So we get an email sent to them, they'll reply back. But I don't think the horns were working at all either, so that was another issue. That's what I heard
What's that?
when they tested it. Only the strobes were working, the horns weren't working.
That's because they disconnected, the evacuation panels went disconnected.
Right.
So the evacuation panel wasn't charging the batteries.
Right.
So batteries would go on, it was just drawing batteries down.
And when I was doing security, I was getting called 2 or 3 times a week for a dead battery
Right.
in
that's
the middle of
right.
the night, but you need this horns and strobes to work, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big no, that's a big liability myself. especially with kids in there.
Okay, so the horns and strobes weren't working, so
The, I think the strobes were
The
the
strobe were
horns.
working, the horns
Or
weren't.
no.
Okay, but we have to have.
Well, actually, they don't have, they didn't have horns. It was a voice, rather than the horn, they had a recording to come on, attention to.
Oh, I had that one. when we
That's what you were
saw it
getting
the
instead
So
of-
how are they gonna do that now if you're gonna take that out? You gotta-
They'll just hook into the panel for the horn strobes. They may have to change the devices out, so there'll be a horn now.
So that's gonna be a cost, and all the cost was to fix the.
But
cost?
Yeah,
Do it for free?
no, they won't do that.
Yeah. Well, thank
But yeah, the devices themselves are probably $40 or $50 a piece, depending on how
I
many.
don't know how they're in there. I just did it over the phone, I get phone calls. So I was gonna email Corey, the contact person at state. Send them the email, and they'll reply back that they don't need that voice.
Do we have a time frame for this to be completed, so is there gonna be a new panel that's not draining the batteries, or what?
You won't have that part anymore.
No, what it is right now, there's two panels. There's one that's the evacuation system. That can just go away. And what they have to do is if the wires are going into that to run strobes, have to pull that over and put it in the panel right inside it. And they can, when that
And then change the strobe to horn.
changes the point strobe, rather
Like
than
that,
speakers, because right now they have, basically it's a strobe and a speaker.
So it'd be changed to that.
Does scare you a little.
I told them that last fall, and I tested everything, and I think it was with Corey and everything going on, it just is one of those things that they never get the price to do it.
And I guess that was the Seacoast that comes in.
Well, the Seacoast monitors everything, I typically go in and test it. And last fall, when I went, I said, you guys have disconnected this.
I'll send out the email tomorrow to Corey, to the contact person, and then send him a request.
Can somebody put like something together in an email and just send it out to the board so that we're all privy to what the steps are, so that we know to anticipate when it's done?
Yeah, I'll talk to Corey, like, I got very little bit about it. They just asked if they needed it, so I'm like, oh, no, fire marshal.
Once I get that ladder,
That's all.
if we're hiring them because they're the ones that doing it, then it'd just be a matter of when they can schedule it in.
But just so we're all aware, because we know it's been an issue now for several years, so I was
Yeah.
surprised that something was being done and we hadn't even noticed with anything. So,
I've been
Well, I
telling.
think it came to light when they tested the system.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, no horns. Did that drove.
And I told them 2 years ago that, that panel, we were going down there every month, putting new batteries in, it's like, this isn't charging you guys. So you either need to get a quote on this or find out.
I'll send them.
Because I wasn't a notifier dealer, so it's not really anything I wanted to get into. You need to buy notifier panels and parts, it's just, I'm not a notifier dealer.
well, that's gonna be taken care of, we'll stop paying bills for all those calls.
Corey now.
Okay, any other business? So I believe we have a couple of items for executive session. So I suggest that I move that we take a 2-minute break, 7-minute stretch, and enter into an executive session.
I'll second that for
Personnel.
personnel.
Do that,
Good. We're ready to go in.
Give me a break.
Sure.
Very well set.
So I move that we exit the select board meeting at 8:09 PM.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Peter?
Yes.
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 Dan? Yes, okay, 5 in favor. And I move that we enter into executive session on a personnel matter under the authorization of 1 MRSA 405(6)A
At 8:10.
Hmm?
At 8:10.
at 8:10.
I second that.
All in favor, Peter?
I have a question first, though. Do we stop recording before we
No,
Go
No, we
into.
vote.
We vote,
go in.
Gotcha.
we vote, and then we go into executive.
Thank
session.
you, I just want to make sure, okay,
Yeah.
so yes, I'm in favor.
Okay, no,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes,
Dan,
Yes,
I vote 5 in favor.
all right.
So now we stop.
yeah,
Okay, I move that we exit executive session at 5:58 PM, 8:58, sorry, 8:58.
Is-
Let me pass my bedtime.
I'll second that.
And to enter into open
No,
session.
all in favor. All those in favor first,
All in favor?
yes.
yes.
Peter?
Yes.
No, yes, okay, 5 in favor. And I move that we re-enter the select board meeting at 8:59.
Second,
All in favor?
Yes,
Peter, Melanie,
Yes.
Carol?
yes,
Dana? All right,
I'll
Five
open
in
this
favor.
door. Oh,
Yeah.
And then for you, looking at,
Oh, the motion for the letter,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's
or
fine.
I have that.
Uh,
You've got.
I think,
Barbara's got it.
I think.
Oh.
Okay,
so, yeah.
all right. So. And move, can I just go ahead and move it? Or based on a discussion in executive session?
I make a motion that the board,
Okay, I make a motion that the board, send a letter to, the citizen in question, concerning violation of rules at the transfer station. A certified letter that will be signed by all the board members.
Second,
All in favor, Peter?
yes.
Ellen? Yes. Carol?
yeah,
Dan?
Yes,
And I'll vote yes, so 5 in favor.
I'm sorry, I didn't get who seconded that.
I did.
Carol?
and I make a motion that the town agrees to waive any conflict with our attorney, Bernstein Shore, representing the town of Belgrade in the matter of the fire station lane purchase. Central lane purchase.
Second,
All in favor, Peter?
Yes.
Ellen? Yes. Carol?
yes,
Dan?
yes.
I'll vote yes, so 5 in favor.
okay.
I think it's an adjournment.
I second that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Dan?
Thank you all for.
I know.
Yeah.
You know? Right?